Hi guys, this is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make the crocodile stitch draw bag. And for this tutorial you're going to need 2 full skeins of worsted weight yarn, 4 ply for the US or 10 ply for the Australia, and also tapestry needle to work in your ends, and a 5mm hook or a size H hook. The crocodile stitch takes quite a bit of yarn, so you definitely want to make sure you have 2 full skeins. And it can be variegated or plain, but I think variegated really looks nice. Okay, to start off, you want to make your slip knot. Get just a little closer for you. Okay, we want to start by chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we want to slip stitch in the beginning chain 1, and now for round 1 we want to work 12 double crochets into this ring. I'm going to be working over my tail as I go. So that's 1, 2, 3, and now you want to slip stitch in your beginning double crochet. Now for round 2 you want to chain 1, and then we're going to be doing our double crochet crossover stitch, which is just going through the back loop and doing a double crochet in that back loop only, leaving our front loop alone. Do that again in the next, and then repeat one more time in the next. Now you have 3 double crochets worked in the back loop only. Now we're going to go back through the front and work in our loops that we skipped. So you're going to grab that first loop and do a double crochet. Then you grab the front of the next loop and do a double crochet. And then now you grab the third and final loop and do a double crochet. Now you have 3 double crochets worked in the back loop and 3 double crochets worked in the front loop. And it's a stitch I discovered because I was looking for something for my ruffle skirt, and it's a pretty way to gain stitches quickly without just putting 2 in each stitch. And for lack of a better name, I call it the double crochet crossover stitch. So again, I usually do it in sets of 3. So you work a double crochet in the back loop only on the next 3 stitches, and then you come back in the front and do a double crochet using the front stitches. And I do have a beginner video if you need it. I can put the link here for you. Now you want to continue to do this all the way around, doing it in sets of 3. And this doubles your stitches, so you had 12 to start off with. So at the end of this round, you will have 24 stitches. So I'll see you back here in a moment. And when you get to the end of round 2, you want to slip stitch in the beginning stitch. Now for round 3, we're going to be repeating round 2. We're going to be doing our double crochet crossover stitch again. So you want to chain 1, then working in the back loop only in this same stitch. You want to do your double crochet in the back loop. And of course, you're repeating what you did last round, so you just do it in the next 2 as well. Once you have 3, then you come in using the front loops and do a double crochet. So you're again doubling your stitches this round. So you had 24 stitches last round for round 2. So at the end of round 3, you will have 48 stitches. Okay, when you get to the end of round 3, you want to slip stitch in that beginning stitch. Now for round 4, you want to chain 1 and then just double crochet going under both loops and do a double crochet. We're going to be doing regular double crochets from here on out. We're done with the double crochet crossover stitches. Okay, so we put one double crochet in the first stitch, and then you want to put a double crochet in the next 2 stitches, going under both loops. So you have 3 regular double crochets. Now you want to do an increase. So in the next stitch, which is stitch number 4, you want to put 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Then we're going to repeat this same pattern for the whole round. Do 3 normal double crochets, 1 double crochet in each stitch, for 3 stitches, and then you want to do a double crochet increase. By putting 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Then continue the next 3 stitches, put 1 double crochet, and then in the next put 2. And you want to continue this pattern for the whole round, and when you get to the end you should have 58 stitches. Now come to the end of round 4, and for round 5 again you want to chain 1. Make sure you had 58 stitches for round 4. So at the beginning of round 5 you want to chain 1 and double crochet into the same stitch. And again you want to double crochet in the next 2 stitches as well. 1 and 2. And then again you want to do an increase. So you'll do the same thing as you did last round, doing 3 double crochets and then doing an increase. And you want to continue to do that until you've come to your last 3 stitches of the round. So don't work the last 3 stitches, and I'll be back here to show you how to work those last 3 stitches. Okay, I've come to the last 3 stitches. Sorry about my voice, by the way. Sorry I sound like a frog, but I'm battling a cold right now. So if this is the first time you're watching me, check out my other videos. I use it on sound that's pathetic. Sound awful. Okay, so at the last 3 stitches of round 5, we want to work them as follows. So I'm at the end of round 5, and the next stitch as normal will be 2 double crochets, and then the last 2 stitches just put 1 double crochet in each stitch, and then count your stitches. Make sure that you have 72 stitches, and when you do, slip stitch in the beginning stitch. Now for round 6, we're going to be starting our crocodile stitch rounds. So for round 6 you want to start off by chaining 1, and then you want to put a double crochet in this first stitch. And our double crochets, our single double crochets, are essentially the anchors. It's what we connect onto after we do a crocodile stitch. So keep those in mind when you see a double crochet. So when you get done with your double crochet, you want to chain 1 because you need to skip a stitch, and then in the next stitch you want to put 2 double crochets in the same stitch, 1 and 2, and then again you want to chain 1 after every double crochet, and after every 2 double crochets in the same stitch you will always be chaining 1. So again you want to repeat this over and over again for the whole round, skipping 1 stitch and alternating between doing 1 double crochet and chain 1, skipping a stitch, and then doing 2 double crochets in the same stitch and chain 1. Then again skip a stitch and do 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then skip a stitch, and then in the next do 2 double crochet and then chain 1. Then you'll have this pattern start to happen. Double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip a stitch, then 1 and then 2, 1, 2, and you'll continue this all the way around till you get back up to the beginning. And you should have 1, which is skip stitch, and the one before it you should have 2, because this is a single, so it should just fall right in line. So when you get back up here to this stitch, I'll see you back here. Okay, when you come to the very end of your row, on row 6, you want to slip stitch in the top of the first double crochet. So I'm going to slip stitch here. If it lets me, there we go. Now for round 7, you want to chain 1. And now, like I said before, the double crochets of the round are essentially anchors. So the main part of your stitch, your crocodile stitch, will be worked in your 2 double crochets. If you're a beginner, you're just learning to work through the stitches. You haven't even really worked with the post. So if you're a beginner, I don't recommend you trying this stitch yet. But if you're more advanced, then you know what a post is of a stitch, which is this. So we're going to be working 5 double crochets on the post, just like at the stitch here, and it will bring us down here. We'll be here, and then we'll have to turn our work like this, and then we'll just use this post, and it's hard to grab, so you'll have to separate it from the first double crochet here. So grab up the next post like this, and then you're going to be working your another 5 double crochets on this post, which will bring you back up to here. And then you'll need to anchor by using your double crochet. You're just going to slip stitch. Again, you're just using the post. You won't be using any of the stitches on the top this round. You're only going to be using the post. So every other round of the crocodile stitch will be this row of double crochets and 2 double crochets, which is like the prelim, the preparation row essentially. So you'll always have to go back and forth, going one row like this and then coming back through the same row and doing your crocodile stitches. So it's kind of slow to move up and it takes a lot of yarn, but it's worth it in the end because you get a very beautiful look. Okay, so what you want to do is, starting your first post here, you're going to work your first 5 double crochets. So again, you want to kind of separate those 2 apart, going under the first post and doing your first double crochet. And then again, you're working over the same post. You're going to be going down. So the next double crochet, this is the first stitch, this is your first double crochet. And like I said, you're going to be working down. Every double crochet will be taking you down further to the bottom. So this will be your second double crochet, then your third double crochet, then your fourth. Get under that post, and then your 5th and the final one. Go underneath. Now you're at the bottom of this post. The post is pretty much covered completely now. You can't even really see it. See, now you have 5 double crochets worked down this post. It's completely covered. Now you want to do the same, and since you've crocheted down, you're down here. So now you have to start here and build up to here, like you built down here, and just be building back up this way. So it's easier, like I said, if you turn your work. Now yarn over and separate if you need to grab up that post on this side. And now you're going to be going under the post like that, grabbing your yarn and doing your double crochet. Once you do about 3 of these complete crocodile stitches, it gets easier coming back up because it gets difficult to come back up this way, but you'll get used to it. If you face it like this, kind of pushing this first part of the crocodile stitch down under like this, it really pops up this post. It makes it easier to work on. And remember, you're working back up this way. So there's your first, go underneath this post. That's your second, go under the post. That's your third, go under the post again. That's your fourth, and then your fifth and your final brings you back up to the top again. And I'm sure you're dying to look. You can go ahead and fold that back down. You can see now, if you look at it, you have 1 complete crocodile stitch. 5 double crochets worked on this post, then 5 double crochets that you worked up here, which gives you that kind of cool crocodile stitch. But these are kind of flopping around and they're not really attached to anything, these second the second set of these 5 double crochets that you did. And this is where the single double crochet comes in handy, because you're going to anchor it by just using the post like that and slip stitching. By slip stitching, it just allows this to not be flopping everywhere. So it brings it a nice anchor. And that's all you do with the single double crochets. Because now you're going to go right back in to your next set of these double and start your crocodile stitch again, using the first of the 2 posts and doing your double crochets. So 1, and again, you can turn it this way because you're going to be working down, and if you want to turn it this way, pushing this other double crochet down, you can also pop up that first post that you need and work your double crochets down it. 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. Now you've got your 5 on this side. Now if you straighten out your project again, you can fold that part or pull it down like this to the bottom. You can see you have your first 5 on this side. And again, I recommend turning your work. Then you can fold this first part of the crocodile stitch back, popping up the second post to where you can easily work double crochets going back up. So again, do 5 double crochets worked onto this post. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, again, there's your second crocodile stitch scale. You just use the single double crochet and slip stitch, and repeat for the next, and just continue all the way around until you have all your crocodile stitches. When you get back up here and you've done your last crocodile stitch, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so you've made it to the end of round 7, and this is the chain 1 here, and the first double crochet you did in our first stitch of the round. We're going to go into this, the actual stitch that you, what is that, 1, 2, it's when you chained and then you slip stitched in the row. It's going to be in that same stitch, which is hard to see, but it's your first double crochet of the round. You're just going to go back into that same stitch, and you're going to end this round in the same place with slip stitching in that beginning double crochet. Now for round 8, you want to chain 1 and you want to turn your work around to the back. Now from now on, when you do a preparation row of the 2 double crochets and then the double crochet, it's going to look like this. This is where you'll be sticking your stitches. It's always going to be front to back, front to back. You're going to be doing the back row with your prep round, and then you'll be turning it back over to do your crocodile stitch row. So round 8 is a prep round. Now every place where there's a crocodile stitch, you can see here, there'll be a stitch in the center. That space, a little space in between the 2 posts. That is what we're going to be calling the middle crocodile stitch. And between, in that space, you will always be putting the 1 double crochet. It will always become the anchor for the next round, because you don't want your double crochet, you don't want your shells to be on top of one another. You want it to be off-centered. So in the next row, you'll be putting your croc stitches here. And now these will become the place where you'll have your anchor. So you'll do your 1 double crochet. Do your 1 double crochet here. And these. And then you'll be doing your double crochet, I keep wanting to say your double crochets. You'll be putting your 2 double crochets that you'll be working your crocodile stitches on, and this stitch is where you have your your anchors from last round. So this is your first stitch of the round, and it was a single double crochet last round. So now this round, it needs to have 2 double crochets put in it, so that we can put a crocodile stitch in here next row. So go into the same stitch, and you want to put 1 and 2 into the same stitch, chain 1, and then inside that, the middle of your crocodile stitches here, do your single double crochet and chain 1. And now here's your other single double crochet from the previous round. You're going to go into the top of that stitch, not the post, but the actual stitch, and you'll be putting your 2 double crochets into that space, and of course always chain 1. Here we go again, where in between there's a croc stitch on the other side, so we're going to be putting 1 double crochet in that space. Now we've come up to our single double crochet again, so we're going to be putting 2 double crochets in that space and chain 1. And you're going to want to repeat this prep round all the way around, continuing to put 1 double crochet and chain 1 in each middle crocodile stitch, and then in the single double crochets you want to put 2 double crochets and chain 1. Continue to work this all the way around until you get back up to the beginning here, and I'll show you how to end it. Okay, we come to the last stitch of the round. In the last stitch of the round here, you do your double crochet, and you know the next stitch is going to be ending the round. There's no need to chain 1, because by slip stitching in this beginning stitch like this, that creates your chain 1 for that space. Now for round 9, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work back over. You've just completed your prep round, and now you're ready to start your next row of crocodile stitches. Now, every time you start with the double crochet, 2 double crochets here, so your first stitch being a single, what you want to do is just slip stitch into this first one, the single, and it'll bring you over to where you need to be to your first set of double crochet so that you can start your crocodile stitch. So now that you're here, you can start again working on the post. Do your 5 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, turn your work. It's much easier to turn your work. Push out that post again, and then work your 5 double crochets this way. And you just want to continue like you did for round, I believe it was round 7. Anyway, for this round, you're going to continue working your double crochets and then slip stitching to anchor onto your double crochets. Okay, I'm on my very last crocodile stitch of the round, and it's kind of wide here, so I know it's difficult to grab, but you need to grab all of it and go under all of it to do your 5 double crochets to finish this very last stitch. It's a little bit more difficult when you end, or I should say begin with your double crochets in the first stitch, but just grab all of that section and work your 5 double crochets over the post. Now when you get to the end of round 11, again, you want to find that single double crochet, go into the top of it, and slip stitch. Now you have 2 complete rows of your crocodile stitch. It's easy to see here. So when you get done, you want to chain 1 and turn. And again, you'll be doing your preparation row for round 12. So again, you look and you see that your very last stitch that you slip stitched into is a single. So go ahead and in the top of the same stitch, put the same exact place where you slip stitched into to finish the round, go into that same stitch and put 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And chain 1. And then now, again, in the middle of your crocodile stitches, you want to do your single double crochet and chain 1. And then again in your singles from last round, in the stitch, you're going to be working 2 double crochets and chain 1. And you want to continue this prep round to get to the end, and then I'll be back up here with you. Okay, when you get to the end of round 12, I'm going to slip stitch. Remember, no need on the very last stitch to chain 1 after your double crochet. You just slip stitch, end your round, and that slip stitch becomes the chain 1 for that space. And as always, you want to chain 1 and turn. Now, again, when you come to the beginning we just want to slip stitch into that first double crochet, which will bring you over to where you need to be here. Then just continue around and around. You're going to continue this, and let me count up for you. Okay, you want to do that until you have a total of 33. So you get to row 33. Every row of crocodile stitches is, of course, a prep row, and then the row of crocodile stitches. So the prep row for this one was row 6, round 6, sorry. Then the crocodile stitches itself was round 7. So then the next one would be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. And for round 34, you want to do one more prep row. So I just completed my round 34. So when you've gotten up to that point and you've prepped your round 34, come back here and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, for round 35, we're going to end the round by slip stitching. We'll be facing this direction for round 34. And without chaining one, you just want to slip stitch in the beginning stitch of the round, which will now count as your chain 1 there. Chain 1 and turn. So for round 35, we're going to be starting to make our flap of our bag. So as always, you want to slip stitch in this first double crochet, which brings us up to our first double. Now we want to do 6. So we're going to be working 1 here, 1 here, that'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 more here. And then we'll slip stitch to end. But you need to have 6 crocodile stitches. Then anchor your 6th crocodile stitch, and I'll see you back here. Okay, I'm just finishing up my last crocodile stitch, slip stitching to anchor it. Let me just count, make sure I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I have my 6 crocodile stitches in a row. Now, I want to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work. So for row 36, which is our flap, we want to slip stitch here and the center of our crocodile stitch. Slip stitch here, and then we want to chain 3. Chain 2, and then double crochet into that stitch, and then chain 1. So we chained 3, and we turned, slip stitch here, chain 2, then double crochet and chain 1. Now, the next we'll be doing as normal on the top of our double crochet, putting 2 double crochets and chain 1. We're going to be doing our prep row again. It is going to be a shorter prep row. Okay, I'm just going and doing my double crochet in my last crocodile stitch here, which I believe is all 6 of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, this is my 6th crocodile scale here. So now you want to chain 1 and turn. So now, ignoring this first double crochet, we're going to right into our 2 double crochets here and start doing our crocodile stitch. And you want to work your crocodile stitches normal. And then when you get to your last crocodile stitch here, which is your last double crocodile stitch here, then I'll show you what you need to do. Okay. Just got done with round 37. Let me back up a second and show you. I got my last scale, which you should have 5 this row. You should be decreasing by 1 scale every row. So you started off with 6. In this row you should have 5, and the next time you do this crocodile scale you should have 4, and so on and so forth. When you get to the end, I'm going to go in between the chain 2 and the double crochet here, and I'm just going to slip stitch. And then again you want to chain 3 and turn. Now for row 38, again you want to slip stitch into your middle of your crocodile stitch. The chain 3 that you do at the end of the last row is just basically the way to bring you back over, because you're doing 1 less crocodile scale. So when you get back up here again and you've slip stitched, you want to chain 2, and then double crochet 1 into your scale as usual and chain 1. And again you're doing your prep row as normal, putting 2 double crochets in the top of your double crochets from last round and chain 1, and then doing your 1 double crochet in the middle of your scale, chain 1, and you want to continue to do that until, like last round, you come to your last scale of the round and you put your double crochet in this stitch, and I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, going to the very end of my row 38, doing my double crochet in the last the last crocodile stitch. Then you want to chain 1 and turn. So for round 39, you're going to be repeating round 37. You're going to be repeating round 37 and 38 over and over again until you've decreased down into 1 crocodile stitch. So we did 6, and now we had 5, and now we're about to have 4. So again, you want to start your crocodile stitch here, and when you get to the end here, you do your crocodile stitch, and then you slip stitch in between these 2, and then you'll chain 3, slip stitch into the crocodile shell again. You can just rewind the video and see how you end each round, but continue to do the same thing until you've gotten down to only 1 crocodile stitch left. Just finishing up my last scales here. I've chain 3 and slip stitch here, chain 2, double crochet in the same stitch with the hair, and then chain 1, do my double crochets here, chain 1, do my last double crochet in my scale here, chain 1, turn, and doing my last crocodile stitch. And the only place that there is a place to do a crocodile stitch, which is my very last place. 3, 4, and 5. Then again, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch in between those two and chain 1 and cut your yarn, leaving yourself some tail so that you can work. Sorry if that was loud on camera. So that you can work in your tail with the tapestry needle. I'm just going to do that right away. See, my camera seems to be disappearing on me. Come back here, Mr. Camera. Okay. So I'm here. Work it down. My places where I have a crocodile stitch. Just because that's the thickest area here. Just kind of working diagonal in here. Got down about 4. Pull my stitch through. Then tug it. Cut my yarn. Okay. Now we have our bag with our flap. Now we want to do our drawstring part, which is just chain 101 and then cut your yarn and pull to tighten it. So basically you have yourself 100 chains. And then when you do, and you're ready to start feeding it in, where's all this hair coming from? You can start here if you like. Where is it? Yeah, this row here that has all these incomplete, which is 34, row 34. Some of it, obviously, you've done your crocodile stitches on. So just make sure you find this row 34, and then you can get here somewhere in the middle. You don't have to start back here, but I think it's easier. And then just, that's a double crochet there. And then there's your scale. Let's get a little closer here. There's your scale. And again, you want to go, this is your double crochet. Just go in and pull it. There, just, and then it's in front, I should say it's in back of your stitch. And then just keep feeding it like that behind your crocodile stitches to make your pull string here. And then now you're in open space, but you still do the same thing. You put it in front of the 2 double crochets where you would have a crocodile stitch. And just feed it on either side of the double crochet. And just keep doing it until, and you can pull it like this, because that's what you're going to do in a minute anyway. Just keep feeding it back and forth till you have both strings here at the front. Okay, when you think you got it in the middle, you can fold your bag in half, your flap here, to see if you have it in the middle or close enough. And mine's good. Don't have it pulled too tight right now, just let it kind of hang loose. Now we want to start our handle. So I'm going to start here because I'm right-handed and I crochet to the left. But if you're left-handed, you may want to start on this side, crochet to the right. And of course, when I flip my video for you left-handers, I'll probably already be on that side. So anyway, so this is the place where you did your last scale. And you know you work scales using the 2 double crochets. And then you use the single for an anchor. So you have your scale here that's actually complete as part of your flap. Then you have your single, and then this is your double where you would normally work a scale. This is where you want to put your first stitch. And of course there's 2 stitches here. I'm going to go ahead and start to the right one. So this will be my first double crochet, and this is my second. I'm going to go ahead and put a single crochet attachment, which is just putting your hook in there and pulling up a loop, leaving 2 loops on the hook, and then pulling through both loops. And that's going to count as your first single crochet. Now I'm going to grab my tail here because I want to work over it. And now I'm going to be working in the space. So that's 2. Then the top of my double crochet, that's 3. Then the next space, it's 4. You want a total of 7. And then my next, I'm going to skip this stitch actually. Just my double here. Probably shouldn't because then I have to change the pattern. Then in my space here, be 4. Then my 2 double crochets here, 5 and 6, and then my last space here will be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 single crochets. Then you want to chain 1 and turn. Now you're going to be working in the single crochets that you just did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And chain 1 and turn. When it gets long enough, you'll just not even be able to, you won't have to turn the bag, just turn the handle. So you want to keep going back and forth until your handle is as long as you like. And I'm not sure how long I want to make mine. So I'll see you back here in a moment and I'll let you know. Okay, I just got done with my bag, my handle. It's 71, 70. Okay, I went ahead and I did my strap for 65 rows. You want to end on an odd number. And now I want to find out where I want to attach it. So I'm going to be counting like I did on the other side. Here's my shell. Here's my first 2 double crochets where I would make my other shell. So I want to start like I did before and just this one here. Sorry about that boo-boo there. Cut myself yesterday. Anyway, so you want to count from this stitch, count over 7. So we have 1, and the space here is 2, single double crochets 3, the space there is 4, and then the 2 double crochets here is 5 and 6, and then the space here is 7. So I'm going to get a marker and mark that space. So I need to start here and work over 7 stitches. Now you want to turn your bag inside out. Find your strap here. Okay. I'm going to lay my bag down like this. My marker there. Actually, you want to end on an even number because we need to have it go this direction, which means we need to connect it here. So I have 65 rows, so I guess I'm going to chain 1. I'll go ahead and single crochet 1 more. Bringing myself up to row 66. Okay, now making sure that my handle is all going the right way. And now I'm on the right side. Okay, so 66. Because you have to end on an even number. Now this is the stitch that we definitely want to go into. So one stitch will go there. And you want to line up your stitches till you have your 7th here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my 7th. Okay, so you want to go into your strap first, and then you want to go into your beginning, your 7 stitches, and do a single crochet. My loop is a bit big there, so I'm going to do that. There we go. Okay, it's your first, and again, going through your strap, then going through that space, single crochet. Going through your strap, going to the top of the double crochet, single crochet. Then go into that space. Then go into the top of the double crochet, the other double crochet, and the very last stitch will be in the space here where we have our marker. So now we do the last double crochet. Now you can chain 1 and again cut your yarn, leaving yourself some tail. Take your marker out, and then you can right away hide your tail. I'm going to go ahead and hide it. Last time I did this, I went ahead and I hid it down my flap here. And then along the double crochets at the strap, not too far down. Then you can just stretch to make sure it's not going to come out easily. Cut your yarn. Now you can turn your bag inside out. Back up my camera here. And it's into your bag. Pull your pull ties closed. Then your bag flap will come here. And there's your strap. And I'll get pictures so that I can show you what this looks like. But an idea of what you can do is you can thread beads here and then tie knots on the end, or maybe you can add tassels or something like that if you want to. If not, then you can use a tapestry needle and feed it through a chain. And if yours is like mine and your string on the end is short, but you still want to feed it in with a tapestry needle, you can do this using any project. You can just go through your project first, wherever you would want your tail to be hidden. And then when it gets to a certain point, you can stop, pull your project down to where you can feed this little tail through the eye of your needle like that. And then just pull it through your project. You can do this to hide any tail that you may have. And it hides it just like that. Just pull it on through. So you hide your tails like this, or add beads or whatever that you like. And that's it. That's how you make the crocodile stitch drawstring bag, or purse, whatever you like to call it, with the flap. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you liked this tutorial. And if you did, please don't forget to like and share this video. It helps me so much. And please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.